Welcome to Wedding BFF. My name is Kate Schmidt and I am your host. As a self-taught wedding planner and owner and chief planner for Celebrate by Kate, I am passionate about creating wedding days that are memorable and tangibly feel like the couple that is being celebrated. On this podcast, you will hear from myself and other guests tips on planning, mindfully creating a day that not only looks but feels good, and how to budget your way to the wedding day of your dreams. Now let's get to discussing your day, your way.
Welcome back to Wedding BFF. Today I have a guest from the beauty industry, Kate Johnson, who is the owner and CVO, Chief Visionary Officer at the Bridal Beauty Team. She's been in the industry for 16 years and has owned this company for 14. She says she's the freaks that really loves weddings, and I can relate to that. It takes a specific brand. And coming from a theater background, she knows set design, costume, makeup, and hair. And of course, she considers the planner the stage manager. It's reality theater instead of reality TV. I love that idea and angle at all of this. So welcome, Kate. I am
Hi.
excited to get started.
Me
Feel
too.
free, is there anything else you want to add about yourself or your company or your story? I'd love to hear it.
Yeah. Well, so we started, or I always say we as though it was more than just, it was me. I started it in 2010 in Chicago, Illinois, where I lived at the time, and I still lived out in the suburbs of Chicago. And it started off just as me, and it actually used to be called Kate Johnson Artistry Brides, because and they say everyone says, well, why did you name it that? Because I needed an S corporation for tax purposes. I mean,
Yeah.
I just named it myself, my own name. It wasn't for any, I was never thinking I'd have a team. I was never thinking it would be like the company that it is now. And so for a really long time, for gosh, up until 2019, it was called Kate Johnson Artistry Brides. And over the years, we just people kept saying, "Hey, do you need help? Do you need help?" And I'd be like,
Right.
"Sure." And that's how the team build was very organic. Started off with me, and then it was me and an assistant, and then that assistant became like a regular artist, and then there was like 5 of us, and then, it just kind of grew from there. And I was always thinking, "Oh, I hate that this is my name. Like everyone always thinks it's going to be me there. Like, I can never like grow out of this or they think because you're the
Oh,
owner, you must be the best person. And it's like, well, why would I hire people that aren't better than me? Like things like that. And so actually right before the pandemic, crazy enough, we officially expanded into Wisconsin and at the
mhm.
time into Nashville and changed the name. We were like, oh gosh. And I had a business partner and we changed the name and could not believe the Bridal Beauty Team was an option. It seemed so like,
Obvious, kind of, right? Like, but
yeah, we were like, there's no
eco-friendly.
way this domain exists. Like, no way. And so snapped it up and it grew from there. It was great. It was really helpful to like allow me to become more like the business owner, which is what I really love doing. I love doing makeup and hair, but I love running a business. And so it allowed me to kind of transition a little bit easier into that role as opposed to being the makeup and hair person of the company.
Right. I guess I have like a segue off of that. That's
Yeah.
very interesting. And if we have business owners listening, I think they'll appreciate this too. So you were talking like, yeah, what if I'm not there to do the makeup? And
Yeah.
Celebrate by Kate is expanding a lot in 2024. So like
Yeah.
same thing, I'm talking to people, but I won't actually be there, which
Yeah.
doesn't feel like a weird disconnect to you, like when it first started happening to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, it
You're
feels
like,
really weird. At first it feels weird, but I mean, it feels very freeing a little bit, you know what I mean? We're like, "Oh, great, I can give other people opportunities," you know? But at the same time, like, um, it's nerve-wracking because 'cause you're like, "Oh my gosh, did I hire the right people? Am I trusting my name to the right person?" You know what I mean? But I feel like if you're a little bit neurotic about it, then you are gonna hire the right people. You're just not willy-nilly, hiring people.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Oh yeah, I can totally it's weird sometimes. I'm like, well, I won't be there, but
Yeah.
again, different stages of business, like that's just something I'm getting used to. And in
Yeah.
what you do, you have to have that many bodies. I
You
mean,
have to. I mean, I could just be a one man show and that would be fine. And it's great, but there was always a part of me that was like, well, if I'm already booked for that day and I have these really talented friends who aren't booked and I was like, how do I bring these
right.
people together? And it's truly how it started. It was really basic. Like I said, I wasn't going out trying to think, oh, I want to start a team. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it wasn't my like having a big team, having a big company wasn't my initial goal. It still isn't, quite frankly. And in fact, like a lot of times I'm thinking like, how do I make my company a little smaller, a little bit more niche? How do I
Oh,
make it more strong? Like make sure that that core is there. And I think that it happens on its own. During COVID, we blew up. So we went from, in 2018 was our biggest year. We did 186 weddings that year, and there was like 14 of us. It was crazy, but that year everyone was doing like Friday and Sunday weddings too, so it was just like a ton of weddings that year.
and you were like, I'm
Um,
gonna take advantage of this. Like,
Heck yeah. I was
that's
like,
how
everyone
crazy
wants
I
to
am.
work. Let's work. Let's do it. All right, let's make it happen. And but now we're averaging about 550 a year
Yeah,
in the two states. And it's like it's a number that is attainable in the sense of it's manageable. I mean, like it's not too many. We have a Wisconsin team, we have a Chicago team.
right.
I only hire people that are really like experienced, and I'm comfortable helping them, having them help me run the morning. So it's manageable. I don't know if it got any bigger than that, if it would be, but we're kind of in the process right now. Gina, who is my started off as my assistant. Now I call her my second in command because she's just so much more than an assistant.
Yeah, I've worked with her.
Um,
Yeah.
she's amazing. She's like Excel guru.
Mhm.
She helps me like run all the schedules and everything. And if in doing that, sorry, my dogs, in doing that, we're able to, keep people going and also start evaluating who needs training, who maybe isn't the right person for the team, who when we're auditioning, they may be amazing, but do they have the right experience to take care of the client? And that's so much more important than being able to do makeup and hair in a beautiful way.
Right. Oh my gosh. Yes. Well, congratulations on your continued success. 500, that like blows my mind. And I'm sure you're like, I didn't necessarily dream of this, but like, I'm so happy it's happening, you know?
Yes, I'm happy it's happening, but it's very weird. And I think that people think like, oh, you must be loaded. It's like, no, there's a lot of money that
Oh
goes
my
back out.
gosh.
You know, we're
Well,
not we're
yeah,
not just like hiring people. Like we have to buy product. We have to like have studio space, and we're constantly like doing that stuff. So
I
it's
know. I know. And as I grow my team too, it's like, oh, well, what you made off that wedding's a little different because you actually had support because, the first
yeah,
11 weddings I did by
yeah,
myself completely,
yeah.
which is not recommended, but it's what you do when you're surviving as a young business. But anyways, okay, so I wanted to also touch on so people are aware because and it's funny that you changed your name in 2019 because that's when Celebrate by Kate was
Oh,
founded.
really?
So that's why I didn't even know that. I was like, oh, it's just TBBT. Like, I don't know. It's just like
Yep.
what people have on
Well, and
Instagram.
when we moved into Wisconsin, that was like how we started.
Okay,
And you
that's my question. Okay.
yeah, yeah. We started when we went into Wisconsin, we were already the Bridal Beauty Team.
Okay, that's why. And that's
Yeah.
obviously as my listeners know where I am. So what do you, for people listening, where do you service? Like what is your radius? You started in Illinois, so I know you're in Chicago a lot, but you're also, like you said, in Milwaukee a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we have a studio in Milwaukee and a studio in Chicago. We do a lot of several Michigan a year, several Indiana, just because it's all really close, especially when you're looking at a map. It's like
West.
all
Yep.
right there. And then but Wisconsin, I mean, we do all the way up to like Minnesota. I mean, I would be happy to go other places. It's just I feel like the travel cost starts getting pricey. And
I know.
so people sometimes people will be like, oh gosh, that's a lot. I'm like, yeah, you might want to look for somebody closer to that area, because it just is what it is. I mean, if we're driving to Door County and we're sending somebody from Milwaukee, it's like it's 200 miles each way, and it's a 4-hour drive. So it's like, we need to stay at a hotel or Airbnb the night before, things like that, because we're the first people that people see in the morning. And we need to make sure that we're there on time and that nobody like,
Right.
hits, blows a tire or something.
Yeah, something crazy could happen. And I literally just quoted a couple. Usually when I am like outside of an hour, essentially, I do 2 nights because
Oh, yeah.
my team and we work like 14 hours that day. So I'm like, I cannot be like driving tired. I cannot be driving home tired, whatever. I digress, but travel fees are like the worst. They're the worst line item. I hate to add to an estimate, but it's
I
it's
know.
so not, I mean, we can't work for free. That's what it comes down to.
No,
Yeah.
and I mean, it's just, I mean, gas is expensive. And
Yeah.
a
God.
couple years ago, I bought a hybrid car and it definitely helps. So definitely something to look into.
Yeah.
And I love driving to Door County and I love driving to Green Bay. And even north of that, we go to, where's this one? God, I can't think of the name of the town or whatever. But anyway, but like up
Nina?
neat, Nina. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
that's pretty far up north, right? Yeah.
Kind of
Okay.
Appleton. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah, it's the area. So like there it's beautiful and I love going up there. I love making a day of it. And it's really fun to kind of be able to explore the country. You get up there and after your wedding on your way home, just kind of casually go slow
Yeah.
home.
Scenic route, right?
Route. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
Thank
sure.
you for sharing so everyone's like
Yeah.
aware of how they can reach you. So,
Yeah.
let's talk about like some wedding opinions, I guess. So, what's like one of your most controversial wedding opinions? I think you had said something about people want to
Mhm.
join because they want to input their designs instead of focusing on the client, or clients need to stop trying to save money by doing beauty trials before photo shoots. I know
Yeah.
you've been very vocal about that one, which
No,
I
yeah.
think is amazing for our listeners because I totally did that. I
Yeah.
totally
Oh, of
did
course,
that
everybody
time
does. And
before
it
my
makes sense.
engagement photos. Yeah.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. So a couple of my favorites that I hear a lot. I mean, honestly, like those two are big ones. One, I want to do my trial before an engagement shoot, or I want to do my trial before a bridal shower or whatever. So for before a bridal shower or something, like reality is like most beauty teams can't do that. I mean, and because it's usually on a weekend and we're working weddings weekend mornings, and so it just physically cannot do it.
Mhm.
And not to be rude, but like I kind of think that if a beauty team can do it, you should be questioning why they're available on a weekend morning
Right.
in the middle of spring or summer. Like why are you available? Like, because I don't mean to be rude by saying that, but like that
No,
should be
it's just
questioned.
reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also before an engagement shoot. Look, I totally get it. And photographers and planners and everybody always like, hey, use it as a date of practice. I get it. I totally hear what you're saying. However, you're actually kind of shooting yourself in the foot because number one, when you're at a trial, it's to try things. That is a quote I see all the time. A trial is to try things. You should come in. Very rarely will you leave your trial looking perfect if it's done correctly, in my opinion. If you come in for a trial, we should be able to try two hairstyles. We should be able to try multiple versions of a makeup look. Now, if you have a very clear vision and it's what you do, we try it and you love it and you leave, great. Wonderful. But in my opinion, it's to figure things out. And if we're figuring things out, we might be curling the hair in multiple directions. We're not going to be using as much product in the hair. We might start with a light makeup look and do a little bit more smoky, and you might hate it. So you don't want to have that pressure of leaving the trial and looking perfect because it defeats the whole purpose of a trial, you
Right.
know? And
Absolutely.
if you want to come in and just get beauty done, great. We give you a discount. If you're one of our brides, we absolutely will discount those rates. We completely understand. But make your trial just like you make your tasting or
Mm,
your trying on a dress or all these different things. Like make it for that purpose, and not to like double do it. Even though I understand you're going to save a little bit of money, but I think it ends up biting you in the butt in the long run.
right. Okay. Yeah. And then in terms of trials too, I actually had a bride a bit ago who it did not go well. Like it
Yeah.
did not go well. It wasn't you, of course, but
Thank God. I'm like, wait, did I not hear about this?
no.
I'm
It's
kidding.
it literally was to the point where she was like, "Oh, I have a cousin that like it was the hair was the issue. I have a
Yeah,
cousin that knows how to do hair, and I
yeah,
might just have to like have her come in after and potentially redo it, which like brings up
yeah,
the exclusivity thing. And I'm like, here's the deal. Like, I'm a person, and you might hate this opinion, but I'm like, ask for forgiveness later because if whatever they did didn't work out, and like, yes, of course there's exclusivity in your contract, but like, do you want to feel like shit on your wedding day? So
yeah.
like, like
And
if
like that's
you really
we don't
enjoy
have
it,
exclusivity in our contract. Like
oh,
to
you
be honest with
don't.
you, like with ours, I don't. If you like, I actually think it's really nice when people say, "Hey, my aunt or my mom or my friend or my whoever is my hairstylist, and I want them to do it." I'm like, "That's lovely." Like I think that's really nice and special.
Okay.
And like I love when like if I have a friend or know somebody who gets married and I don't get asked, my feelings totally get hurt. I mean, I don't say anything, but of course I feel for that other person. And like if they can only handle so many services and we can come in and do the rest, great. Like
Yeah, yeah, pick it up like
wonderful.
maybe bride, mother of the bride, maid of honor, whatever.
Bridesmaids,
Yeah,
whoever. I mean,
yeah,
totally fine with us. Yeah. I mean, I think it's sweet. And there are times when somebody maybe was in another wedding and they already worked with a different hair company and they liked them, but they're coming to us for makeup. Great.
right.
Totally
Exactly.
fine. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't think that I think that it's silly. I think exclusivity, like I just here's my other unpopular opinion. I think that sometimes artists, and I don't mean just makeup and hair, I mean anyone who's creative,
right. Hmm.
and I'm guilty of this as well. I think that as artists, sometimes we get too wrapped up in our ego a little bit and too wrapped up in the this is mine. Um, and stop and realize that when you're doing weddings, it's not you. It's not yours. It's not about you. It's not your creativity. It's has nothing to do with you. You are a lucky person who gets to be creative to help somebody else's day be wonderful. And that's what you need to remember. And I tell my team this all the time, if you don't like the hair and makeup that they picked, don't ever show the pictures to somebody. Who cares? Like
Right.
it's not about you. Like you got paid. You got paid to go do something and you got paid to make somebody happy. It happens all the time. We get photos back from people, and I'll be honest with you, the people, my artists sometimes will say, like, how come you never posted photos of this person, that person? Said there are so many things at play when it comes to posting photos on Instagram and social media. I go, number one, is the makeup and hair look good? Maybe it just didn't photograph well. Or maybe they picked a style
Maybe
that
it's
just
the
doesn't look good
photographer.
on them. Yeah, but they liked it. So that also, is it a style that is relevant to today? Is it something that people are going to like, or is it a really dated style? Sometimes people really like things that were really popular several years ago, but I'm not going to use that to market my business. It might look lovely on them, but it's not marketing to a future bride. Um, is the photographer, where did they go cheap on their photographer? Is it a good photo?
Right.
And then on top of that, like, does it go with the overall vibe of what I have going on in my current grid on Instagram?
No
Like,
kidding.
I like tag things in my drive in so many different ways to be like, blonde, dog, mom, like pink, purple, roses, like so that if I'm like, oh, I need to find a picture, like I always save dog photos because I think they're so cute. So like if I'm like, oh, these three brides are going to post pictures with dogs on it, like I can go, oh, who had a dog in their photo, you know?
Love
And
it.
so like it's not really about it's once again it's remembering that like if you're doing this as a career and it's something that you love, like if you love weddings, you love weddings. It's not about you. And I tell people all the time, like, I would love to be a wedding planner, but I would be a terrible wedding planner because I'd want it to look everything that I want it to look like.
Oh my God. It's so funny you brought that up because like I have yet to do a wedding that is like truly my taste. Like
Yeah,
my wedding in on May 25th of this year will be truly my taste.
I love
So
it.
I think it's funny that you bring that up because I have loved like you go to my Instagram, you see it's like I have a Northwoods wedding, then I have a like a really ritzy downtown Chicago wedding, then I have this, then I have that. Like
Yeah.
the variety keeps it really interesting for me. And it's different from my perspective because I'm working within their aesthetic. But it's so funny you say that because um, I've loved every little variety of weddings that I've done. Of course, I have more favorites of like that fit
Yeah.
more within my cues, but I also think it's telling a story to their guests. And this is what I tell people during their consultation. I'm like, my priority is like showing your personality as a couple. Like it's about you two, and I'm making snap decisions that day, or my team's making snap decisions that day. Like, how do we curate that
Yeah.
specifically to you? If all hell breaks loose, like I know their aesthetic and I can make decisions as if
Yeah.
they're making them themselves, you know? So I
Well, you
digress.
can steal my theater. You can steal my theater analogy because that's exactly how I see a wedding. Like literally, like the decorator is the set designer and the dressmaker is the costumer and the makeup and hair is obviously makeup and hair and the planner is the stage manager. And
Right,
like I mean,
right,
it's that theater background that I have, but it's you're curating an overall look, like if you were making a movie or you were making creating a play and you it's you don't have a play set in 1950s with a person dressed like a robot. I mean, maybe you would in the 1950s, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but like,
Right.
you wouldn't have some really crazy random thing. Like, you're curating it. And that's also why we suggest to people to do your trials like 2 months before the wedding, because you've already made all these decisions.
Right.
Everything is pretty curated. Now we're going to create the look for the bride that places them as the star of the show. And like, that's the best way for me to explain it, as
Yeah.
silly that kind of sounds. It's like, again, you're not going to have some totally vintage Art Deco wedding and then the girl has a braid in her hair with a messy bun. It's like, no, like,
No.
you're going to have a vintage
Or
wave.
like
She's going to have
farm.
a sleek
Yeah.
chignon. Like, it's going to make sense, you
Wait.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It
Cool.
has to all come together.
It really does. Yeah. So let's go into like debunking some myths or just
Yeah.
like misunderstanding. So what is like, I have seen this all over social media. I'm sure you've even posted
Oh,
about it. What is
probably.
the natural makeup look?
Ah,
How much
ah,
time does this take? I know. You're like gonna lose it. How much time does this take? And like what goes into it? Because everyone's like, oh, what, like 2 strokes of eyeshadow and then we're done. Like
it
it's so
can
far
be.
from that because even my wedding makeup, that's what it is.
Yeah.
That takes a long time. It takes long-lasting product. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, so there's a couple different things. Everybody, the key words right now are neutral and natural. We are hearing a ton of brides be like, I want really natural makeup. And then you do really natural makeup. And then they're like, you don't have enough makeup on. And then you're like, okay, can you re-explain to me what you want? And you're like, that's not natural, that's neutral. Neutral is browns and beiges. Like, but a lot of times this like heavy glam, this Kim K look, this,
Yeah.
all of these like very glamorous looks, like they're neutral, not natural. So we're really coaching our artists right now to really make that distinction. In fact, we're putting together a whole lookbook to show to brides to help them make better decisions. Natural makeup is what looks natural, meaning you don't have heavy makeup on. You have enough on to cover redness, to cover acne, to cover whatever needs to be covered, but to bring out the natural
Your features, right?
features. Thank you. The word. I was like, what is that word?
I know.
Features.
I was reading it. We're
I was
good.
like, what is that word I'm looking for? So bring out your natural features. But number one, as an example, like I would say I have natural makeup on right now. I have a pound of makeup on my face right now, way more makeup than I'm normally wearing because I knew I was going to be on camera, which is the thing. It's like if you're going to be on camera, which you are on your wedding day, colors get totally diffused and you need to wear more makeup in order for you not to look washed out.
Okay.
And so you don't need to have heavy, thick makeup on, but you need to have more color, more definition. And the amount of time that it takes to do it really is based on the experience of the artist. I'm personally somewhere between 25 minutes and 30 minutes for a makeup person for makeup um per person. I think a lot of people in the industry are around 35 to 40. That's how much we like gauge out for touch-ups and things like that, but it needs to include airbrush and lashes and all of that. We waterproof spray everybody. It takes time and we do get a lot of clients in our chair that be like, I chose you guys because everybody just kind of looks like them, but a little bit elevated. And I'm like, great. And when they say, but I'm a little scared of makeup, I'm like, those people have makeup on though, right? Like
Yeah, that's
you
it too.
will you will look like you're wearing makeup. Maybe not in the photos, which is what you're attracted to on my Instagram, but in person you will look like you're wearing makeup. And I really have to like drill that in with people that like understand you are going to look like you're wearing makeup because you do have it on. And usually you can convince people if they start to get it. They understand a high definition camera, which is what all cameras are nowadays.
Mhm.
Um, they can see every line and every pore and every little thing. And your photographer, I'm sorry, is not going to go through and edit every single photo. They're going to put a filter on it. Even if you can't tell that it's a filter, it is a filter. It's a setting in their Photoshop. And if they know that you're going to really blow up a photo, they might go in and edit it, but they take thousands of photos. They're not going to edit every photo. They're
No.
relying on makeup and hair to do a good job. And quite frankly, like we do get a lot of business that way. They'll be like, "Oh, I don't have to really worry about your photo." It's like, "Oh, thank you." So like that's a big part of it.
Right, absolutely. And it was important even we just collaborated on that shoot recently
Oh, I
too.
loved
And
those
like
photos.
it was so funny. I was like, get close to her face, because I remember you saying like that's a priority too from a
Yeah.
beauty perspective, like a photo with the wedding party. No one can tell how great her up close, like how awesome her liner is. If she wanted
Yeah.
like a cat eye for some reason, you know what I mean? Whatever she
Yeah.
wanted, or they wanted or whoever. So I totally get that. And speaking of kind of like photos and things, so I on my end of things, I've worked with a variety of beauty professionals, and
Yeah.
it's going to sound funny, but sometimes my metric for like, I will trust you to work with another client is truly the eyelashes. Because
Yes.
last year I had a wedding where my bride shows up and like, the inner corner, like the corners are
Yeah.
always the issue. Um, Inner corner is coming off already. Like not even married yet, not even ceremony yet. And that's my metric, which is a very amateur thing to say. How do you
No,
get it to last all day? Because I think about just, I don't know, it blows my
that's a
mind.
metric for us
Like,
too when we're auditioning people. So I get it. It's
yeah, like
definitely like a
Hollywood. Okay, so lashes are, yeah, because lashes are huge right now too.
yeah.
Like you include those automatically, right?
Oh yeah, we include everything. I'm gonna ask you. I feel like a lot. Like I want our pricing to be super transparent. It's online. There's no hidden fees. There's nothing. I mean, it is literally online. The only thing that would be a hidden fee is if there's travel to where you're specifically going, but that's not a hidden fee. You're gonna know about. I'm gonna tell you. It's gonna be in your
No kidding.
contract.
Hmm.
Um, but like, yes, lashes, airbrush, waterproofing, any hairstyle is included in our pricing because I don't have time for a la carte everything. And like, I hate that. Like, I would say, I better be at the fanciest restaurant in the world if you're going to a la carte me because like, nobody has time for that kind of brain power. But
Right.
with lashes, I was terrified to put on lashes when I first did it. I remember it was like 2008 because I was working for NARS at the time, Macy's State Street in Chicago. And I was terrified to put them on because they look so scary. But once you learn how to do them, they're really, really easy. But what people don't fully understand is like you have to cut them to fit the person's eye shape. And quite frankly, what is a eyelash doing way on the inner corner of this person's eye? First of all, that hurts when they blink. And so like typically we're saying like it should go like, okay, if the
Jeez,
center of your eye or the iris is maybe a little bit closer, depending on how wide of
okay.
an eye they are. And then it goes this way. So you need to measure it. So this is how I measure it on their eyelid first. You need to measure it first and then cut it to their eyelid shape and then glue it. And then you have to use a good glue. You can't use cheap glue. And this is where a lot of the pricing comes into play with why makeup is expensive. There are certain things like and I think most people use cheap mascara for brides because we blow through a tube or two of mascara a week. We are not going to go out and buy $30 mascara. We're going, it's going to be
Yeah.
CoverGirl, it's going to be Maybelline, it's going to be $8 mascara, like normal mascara. I shouldn't say it's like cheap, but it's
No,
not.
that's like what I use or
Yeah,
less.
it's normal people mascara, but like a lot of,
Yeah.
oh, are you using Dior? God, no, I'm not using Dior. First of
No.
all, like I hate Dior mascara. But second of all, like it's $30. I'm not doing that once a week. It's crazy. And I'm putting lashes on you. There is zero reason why I need to have fancy eye or mascara on you when I'm putting lashes on you. I need black and waterproof. I need the blackest mascara and the most waterproof mascara. Those are the two things that I need.
Okay.
But anyway, sorry, I digress. I get
No.
on.
No, I
But
love it. It's
with
helpful.
the lashes can get expensive. Mascara, not expensive, but your lash glue, the best lash glue that I have ever seen is it's actually by Kiss, which you normally think of as
That's
being
so
a
funny.
cheap brand, right? But you
Or
can only
nails.
get the long-lasting Kiss glue on Amazon. Like you can't get it in the store. You have to go on Amazon. You have to buy it in a 3-pack and it ends up being like $25 and it doesn't really last that long because it dries out quickly. But it's awesome. And you have to know how to put them on. The glue has to dry a little bit before it gets tacky enough to
Oh yeah,
glue.
that's why people do this with the like they like shake the lash kind of.
Yeah.
Okay, I've
The
seen
glue has to get
that.
tacky before it'll stick. If you try to put it on and it's too wet, then it won't stick. It'll just come right off.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So to get it to between the lashes to get that's how you get that to last all day. What about the face? Like what about if someone has, rosacea or whatever? Like how do you get that to stay or they have blemishes they want to cover up?
I'm a big fan of airbrush. Some people don't like it. I don't understand when people don't like it, but that's one of those things that people are very opinionated on. Airbrush, it to me is like taking a can of spray paint and spray painting a wall. It's a terrible analogy, but think of how thin it is and how pixelated it is and how great of coverage you get. It's not going to come running down your face. It's not going to shift and move as you're putting on powders. So with airbrush, I kind of think of it as the sealer. Like I'm always going to put concealer on. If someone has a lot of rosacea or they have like a lot of skin issues, you might put a little foundation on first because airbrush is very thin and it's just going to blur. It's going to give that skin perfected look.
Okay.
And then we're going to set with powder. Then the most important thing, and here's my little trick of the trade, which I don't know so much as it's that much of a trick anymore because I tell everybody, is that there is a product called Final Seal. It's from Ben Nye. And it is a theater makeup sealer.
Oh,
So
there you
my
go.
there you go. So my actual bachelor's degree is in special effects makeup and hair for film. That's what my degree is in. I have a bachelor's in arts in special effects makeup. And so when you think of like The Grinch or Planet of the Apes or any of those types of things, that's what I did in school.
Oh my
So
God.
this spray is to keep your skin from sweating too much. It's to keep your makeup from moving when you're wearing prosthetics on your face. And you can like spray it on your face to keep the sweat from coming through the makeup. So if you're putting those prosthetics on your face and you start sweating a lot because they're really hot, the glue will come off, the adhesive comes off, and it can take hours to put one of those on. And so it's something you obviously try to prevent. So I use this stuff called Final Seal. You spray it, it smells like Listerine for your face, very minty. But it waterproofs your makeup. It is not coming off. And like I tell people now, if you dunk your face in water and start rubbing it, it's going to come off. But
Right.
you can dump your face in water and not rub it, and it'll still be fine.
Okay, gotcha.
But,
Interesting. So traditional versus airbrush, like you said, it's kind of a hot topic to a lot of
yeah,
people, and I think
it is.
it's something that the beauty professionals are also trying to educate the general public on
Yeah.
because I am the general public. When I think traditional, am I thinking like liquid foundation? Am I thinking the right way? Okay.
Yeah, you're thinking liquid foundation. And there's nothing wrong with liquid foundation. It's just that like it's not as easy to mix and create your own colors.
Oh,
It's
right.
a lot thicker. You kind of get what you get, which is what I don't really care for. Meaning like you probably have your own favorite foundation that you're like, I like this one because I have combination skin and this one da 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 da.
Right.
Now you have like a multi-sentence answer to why you wear the foundation that you wear. Well, like if I'm seeing 8 bridesmaids in one day, I cannot carry around 8 different types of foundation to hopefully magically work with their skin. I need professional makeup that's going to work on everybody, and I need to be able to know how to mix and match things to work. The thing that I like about airbrush, especially in the Midwest, there are 3 different types of airbrush.
Mm.
There is 2 different companies. There's Ket and there's Temp 2. There is Mac and stuff, but nobody professional uses that, so just ignore. So there's Temp 2 and there's Ket. Those are the 2 different brands. Ket is a water-based foundation and it works really beautifully in very humid places like
Oh,
Florida,
right.
Louisiana, Alabama, the South, California when I go back, I'm from California. When I go home and I do weddings back there, I will use that product because it's water-based. It will take your sweat and actually make the makeup look even a little bit better. It'll take the oils from your skin and make your makeup look a little bit better. Then there's Temp 2, which they have a silicone base and they have a hybrid base. So the silicone base is, as you can imagine, silicone base, and it makes you look all glowy and fabulous. The hybrid is a water and silicone, so it kind of has more of a natural skin finish, which is the one most people in the Midwest use, because it's great for the really dry winters of Wisconsin and the really dry winters of Chicago, but it's not too silicone for the summertime of those places either, where it can be really humid. It gives you a really nice natural finish. And I think to me, it gives the artist the most diversity without having to bring a ton of product. And it stays on the best for the bride. And it looks the best on camera.
Okay. Good to know. Yeah, it's funny because we kind of grow up with like when you're in college going out with your friends, it's like, oh, where's my foundation?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. So, on the tangent of all of that, I'd love to talk about opinions with the bride. So, my mom for my wedding, like, could not be more supportive and excited, and she's not the the bad witch mom. Does that make sense? The
Good.
one who's like, oh, that doesn't accentuate your features or this, like
Yeah.
the nitpicky
Hard.
that stuff. So I've never had a bad experience with that, but I know that people do, or like, oh, that's really heavy makeup. Like you said, you should look like you have makeup on, unless
Yeah.
you truly don't want to look like that, which like,
Right.
yes, do it yourself at that point, I feel like, but
Yeah.
How do you coach brides to like feel really comfortable with what they chose?
Yeah. Well, the first thing that I say is don't bring somebody to the trial with you that has a difference of opinion than you on most topics.
Okay.
Bring somebody that agrees with you on most things. Don't bring your best friend if they have a difference of opinion. Don't bring your mom if they have a difference of opinion. If you're going to bring somebody to the trial, either come to you by yourself or bring somebody to the trial with you that supports your opinions and knows what you like and is supportive of you, even if they like different things, is
Right.
somebody that can be like, yes, this is so you.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people aren't sure, especially with if they are intimidated easily, meaning like sometimes people think like, oh, I didn't want to hurt the makeup artist's feelings. Like, girl, hurt our feelings. Like, it's not going to hurt our feelings. It's not a problem. Tell us you don't like something. If we don't know that you don't like it, how are we going to know to change it? It's just not that, it's not that big of a deal. That's why we're there. But you should have somebody that can validate and be like, yeah, no, yeah, Kate, that is what you normally like. That is what you normally say. This looks really pretty on you. Like, not somebody that's like, I don't like this idea when that's exactly what you asked for. I've had it happen, moms coming, friends coming, and the bride is so defeated at the end of the trial. And it's so frustrating. And I spend half the time, or us artists spend half the time trying to explain to that person, like, why the bride likes what they like, meaning like, oh, it's because of this, or and like you're trying to be on their side. It's hard. And it's the other reason why we say don't do these things before events. Don't do them before a bridal shower. Don't do them before engagement photos. You go to a bridal shower with your trial makeup on, you tell anybody that you just did your trial, everyone feels like it is you just asked them for their opinion, whether you did or not. But on the wedding day, everyone's going to think you look amazing. And if they don't think that you look amazing, they would never say it.
Never
They're
ever.
going to say you look gorgeous. But most of the time, they're going to see you in a dress and your hair done and your makeup done, and they're going to say, "Oh, you look incredible." But on the day of your shower, they're going to be like, I don't know if I like. And it's like nobody asked you. Like, you know, and I tell brides all the time, like, I don't care about anyone else's opinion. I care about your opinion. I care that you're happy. And so like let's do this when like you feel secure that you can make a decision at the end. Um, and not somebody's random friend that got invited to your shower that you don't even know.
Right. Yeah. Well, and even going back to trials. So, traditionally it's for the bride, right? Because again, star of the show, celebrity, all the beautiful things. I have thrown around the idea in the past because of between different experiences with clients, whatever, of the mom, mother of the bride, or another significant woman
Yeah.
or whoever to get their makeup done, to get a trial just like
Yeah.
you.
They do it
Um,
all the time.
the way I look at it is, well, I know even for my mom's very low key. So I did offer her a trial, but like she's gonna be so just excited and thrilled. Like just
Yeah.
she's gonna love it no matter what. She's one of those, she's like a girl's girl that way, you know?
Yeah.
But I offered it to her because literally the last time her makeup was done professionally was in 93.
Yeah.
Things have changed just a bit.
A little
So
bit. We're not
I
wearing purple
still,
eyeshadow anymore. Right. Yeah.
yeah, like
We
the
do a lot of moms trials, a lot of moms trials. Honestly, most of the time because moms are very hesitant. They haven't had their makeup done by somebody, especially by somebody they've never met.
yep.
Um, we actually on our website have a section called Mom Glam, and it's pictures of moms as well to
Love
show
it.
moms don't be worried. Like we can make you
Represented.
look really glam. We can make you look really natural. Like just go onto
Right.
our website. You can see moms of all different types of moms.
Okay.
Um, it's hard. I will say I kind of I love when moms get done and love when moms get trials done if they're chill and low key.
Oof.
A
We're
lot of
still
times they're
not
not.
there. Yeah.
A
There's
lot of
some folks
times
that are like mine who are just
they're the
like
most
just so
stressful people.
happy, you
Yeah,
know?
and I say please don't let's not do them on the same day as the bridal's trial. Let's do
Mm,
them on a different day. Let's make them separate. Which is sometimes hard to convince people of because it's like, I don't want your mom's anxiety over her getting her makeup done to cloud while you're getting yours done. And while maybe you want a little bit more makeup than she wants, and she's watching you get your trial done, is now freaking out. And by the
right.
time she gets her trial done, she's spun out of mental control. And like, I don't mean to sound dramatic, but it just is what it is. You
And
know, look, I'm a huge proponent of moms getting their makeup and hair done on the wedding day. They are going to print way more photos than a bride and groom are going to print. It's their friends and family, oftentimes more than the bride's friends that are coming to this thing. They're oftentimes paying for it or paying for a huge chunk of it. They want to feel great. They want to feel amazing. They want to feel beautiful. It is so important. And I'm happy to do a trial, you know. And I'm also happy for them to realize that what they think a makeup artist is isn't a 21-year-old girl who works at the MAC counter that's wearing lime green eyeshadow. Okay, I'm
That's it.
46.
Like,
I'm 46 years old. Many people on my team are in their 30s and 40s. We've been doing this a long time. Oh, hi,
oh,
puppy.
yeah, Lexi's been here.
Oh,
She wanted to come up and say hi, and
hello,
I can't
baby.
let the baby because I
Oh,
can.
so jealous.
But yeah, sorry for the distraction. But yeah, so if you know, for me, I knew based off of my mom and how she
Yeah.
is, we did not have to do it. But what are like the warning signs that, like, you know what, mom is gonna feel all types of way on the wedding day, and I don't want that energy. Like, what are the warning signs that people should look
The
out for?
warning signs that I think that they should do a trial is if they're saying they don't want to get makeup and hair done, if they're too scared.
Yeah.
That's when you get a trial done because I want them to feel beautiful on the day of. They're the second most photographed person that day. Honestly, I'm sorry, but the groom is not the second most photographed person that day half the time. Like sometimes, but not always. But they're definitely the second most photographed woman that day, especially the
Okay.
bride's mom.
Okay.
Um, the groom's mom, I think that oftentimes the groom's mom red flags. How do I say this? It's gonna get me in trouble. The groom's moms are typically the bridezillas
Okay.
of the
Interesting.
wedding parties. But I think that it's valid. Now, for everybody who just got a certain feeling
Like,
a
who is
certain
this
way because I
lady?
said that, let me explain why I say this. It's valid. The mom, especially if they don't have any daughters, okay? The mom is probably feeling a little out of control, meaning like they probably didn't get to plan this wedding very much of it. They don't really have any control over maybe their dress color or the vibe of the wedding. And it may be very different than how they would do things. And they might be trying to be so good and just try to be supportive of their son and their future daughter-in-law. They
Yeah.
might love their future daughter-in-law, but their future daughter-in-law might be a total hippie and she might be outright out of, 1950s Mad Men. I mean, they might have a totally different vibe than the family that they're moving into, and they are nervous. Who are these makeup and hair people that they chose to make us look a certain way on the day of? These people might be freaks. They,
Yeah,
like
we
they
know,
might be
right.
thinking this bride wears a ton of makeup and is uber glam, and I'm really natural. Like, what am I walking into? I think that they're bridezilla-iness sometimes because they don't go down the rabbit hole of let me ask for a trial. They panic and freak out and start acting a little crazy sometimes.
Yeah. Huh.
Oftentimes, it often happens with the sister of the groom too, because again, maybe the sister of the groom is being invited there that morning out of courtesy
They're not
because
actually close.
they're
Yeah.
not they're not friends with these people. They don't know these people. They
Right.
might know the bride kind of, and they might, the groom probably didn't marry somebody who reminds him of his sister. Like he probably married somebody who reminds him of himself or of somebody else. And so it's a totally different vibe. And so I think that making these people feel incredibly comfortable and giving them a trial is awesome. And it's an awesome way of making them feel included. And please, brides who might be watching this or other people, unless you absolutely despise your new in-laws, invite them to be a part of that wedding morning because
Oh.
I have gotten
Mhm.
heartbreaking phone calls from mothers of the grooms who didn't get invited
Oh,
to the wedding
wow.
morning
Interesting.
glam, and they're wondering if we will come and get them and their daughter ready. And I'm like, well, did you? And sometimes, especially when we're not available, say, did you ask the bride? And they'll be like, yeah, we didn't get invited. And it breaks my heart because you can hear it breaking their heart. And I
Yeah.
sometimes people just don't think about it. I don't think it's intentional.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, please, unless you really just cannot stand these people and you don't want them anywhere near you in that morning, which is like a whole nother conversation,
Yeah.
invite them to be a part of the
Okay.
wedding.
And as soon as you said that too, like that they can be problematic, my first thought coming from a planning perspective is like, well, in a traditional setting, which honestly I have a lot of thoughts about, but in a traditional setting, they don't have a lot of say. They
Right.
don't know the bells and whistles that are happening. So like,
Right.
of course they come into this day like, I guess I'm just gonna be ride along cop, like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And if
So,
they're cool, easygoing people, amazing.
but
But
still,
most
they'll
of
have
them
some
aren't. And
anxiety.
Another thing that I have figured out too, and I would love for other people to chime into this if they're watching this, is people who are in their like 60s and 70s, right? Like, so anywhere from like their late 50s to their 70s, who I would say are probably most parents of couples right now, right? Or most parents of people getting married. Um, they probably didn't get to plan their own wedding. They probably got married in the 80s and maybe in the 90s, and their
Point.
moms planned their wedding. So
Right.
not only did they not get to plan their own wedding, now they're not getting to plan their child's wedding because now traditionally children are planning their own weddings. So a lot of times people get very like frustrated or upset or get a little control freaky because it's like I didn't get to plan my own wedding and I was expecting to get to plan my child's wedding because my mom planned my wedding and now I don't get to plan this and I don't get any say and they're doing really wackadoodle things that I don't like or maybe I wouldn't do or maybe this might be the way they're doing things might be a little embarrassing to the people that I'm inviting if like maybe they're very traditional people and they have very like quirky kids, you know?
Yeah.
Um there's a lot of things at play there and I think that as long as we remember that and as long as maybe they can somehow slightly be reminded of that,
Yeah.
it can kinda come back together really nicely.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, I have like essentially one or two more questions.
Yeah,
Costs.
yeah,
So you're not just showing up with blush and eyeliner. Like there's a whole thing that goes into this. And one thing I've heard from clients over the years is why is it so expensive? Can you
yeah,
talk behind like let's talk people off the ledge here. Like you
yeah,
need a professional, number one, you deserve that. And number two, like what goes into that?
yeah. There's a lot. I mean, people think that I only work on weekends. It's like, no, I work 7 days a week. I may not actually be putting makeup and doing people's hair,
Same.
but everyone can attest. I will answer an email at 7 p.m. on a Saturday. Um, there's a lot that goes into weddings and what you're paying for. So, okay, this actually is going to go into a little bit bigger of a picture. People say the minute you say there's a wedding attached to it, prices go up. Yes, that is accurate and valid. And let me tell you why. Because if you are hiring a professional to help you out with one of the most expensive days you will ever have in your life,
Mhm.
it should be somebody that knows what they're doing. And it should be somebody that understands weddings more than they understand floral, more than they understand makeup and hair, more than they understand cooking, right? Your catering is cooking. So what, you just hired some line cooks and they're just cooking your food? No, they need to know that it comes out on time, that it comes perfect, that it's plated perfect. They need to understand the presentation. They need to understand timelines. They need to understand this is all what comes with experience and it comes with hiring people and overhead. It like when you are paying a makeup and hair team to come do these things, you're not just paying for that person to come and spend 4 hours with you. We're creating timelines. We are
Yep.
writing contracts. We're writing emails. How many times do we get back and forth? The people who are good are responding in less than a couple hours, unless you're emailing them in the middle of the night.
Right.
You're talking to people that are kind of at your beck and call for the next 10 to 12 months, you know, and you're hiring people that understand what photography does. You're hiring that know how to work well with others and work well with the other vendors, that know to be on time, that know that there's no do-overs. There is no, oh, I screwed this up today, I'll redo it tomorrow. No, this is it, you know? And so that's what you're paying for. You're paying for that expertise, you're paying for that experience, you're paying for somebody to spend a lot of time carrying and worrying and being concerned about your feelings on a day that has nothing to do with them. That's what you're paying for. And then on top of that, you're paying for us to buy product and to constantly be supplied in product and to make sure that if we don't have time to order it at our discount that we can run to Ulta at any moment's notice and buy $1,000 worth of stuff. And for our kit insurance, that's $200 a month. And for all these other things that if someone breaks into my car and steals my entire kit, I have enough money to run over to Sephora and drop 3 or $4,000
No
on a new
kidding.
kit before your wedding tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like that money has to be in my bank account. You
Yeah.
know, there's a
Yeah.
lot to it. Plus gas, plus all the things.
I
Just
mean,
so many.
and quality, just quality control, right? Like we're not putting
Yeah.
on Wet and Wild that
Yeah.
you can get at
We're
Target.
not. We're
We're not
not.
doing
That's
that.
not fair.
Or Elf or whatever. Like I actually for every day, Elf has the only brow pencil I've ever loved, which
It's
was
good. I know
Yeah.
which one you're talking about, and it's totally good.
Got
So
that
I
color.
had my
Yeah.
car towed. I had to have my car towed the other day because it like broke down, and I
Oh, no.
accidentally left my makeup, personal makeup, in the car. And so this was 2 days before Easter, and so I had to, and I was like, oh my God, all these 30 some odd people coming to my house. And so a lot of them meeting my daughter for the first time who was just born,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was me all these photos. So I ran over to Ulta and bought makeup, and so I bought like some really inexpensive things because I'm like, whatever, I know I'm gonna go back my kit in a couple days. And I bought some expensive things, and it's like it costs a lot of money, especially when I can't buy it at my artist discount. I can't call up the Madison Avenue NARS store in New York and be like, hey, can you ship me my stuff? Because I get it at 40% off.
No
When
kidding.
I can prove I'm a professional, I have a week for it to be shipped. Like I need it today,
Yeah. The
but
supply chain of it all too. Yeah,
yeah. Oh
absolutely.
my God.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing. I think after people hear that, they're like, oh my God. It's like when you go to the dentist, it's a service. It
It's a
requires
service.
it's the experience, it's supplies,
Yeah.
it's the customer experience, like just the
Yeah.
elevation of it all. So that's helpful. So to close out a couple things, you were on the news recently and you guys have a new studio. You want to tell everyone about that a little bit?
Yeah. So I was on the news recently because I work with a charity called Wish Upon a Wedding. I'm on the board. It is an incredible charity. We give free weddings to people where one person in the couple is terminally ill.
Oh,
So when they apply, we, obviously get validation from their doctors and things like that. And then we put weddings on for them. And it's an incredible way to allow people to celebrate their lives. And sometimes it's vow renewals, sometimes it's just getting married for legal purposes because you know how hospitals are. If you're not
medical
married, they
bills. I had a couple do that. Not
there's
terminally, but I had a couple do
yeah,
that.
there's a lot of reasons. And you think, well, why can't they just go to the courthouse? They could just go to the courthouse, and there's
But they
absolutely no
deserve
problem
it
with that.
too.
But
Yeah.
not only that, but like they are mentally and financially exhausted and drained from medical things. We organize it. A planner comes along, wedding, dress, makeup, hair, all the things. We come along, we put it all together for them. We put on a lovely day for them and like 40 of their friends or family. It's
Uh,
wonderful. I will tell you a quick short story if it's okay. One of our weddings last year, the gentleman had stage 4 brain cancer, and he did a vow renewal. And this is how like amazing these things are. We got everybody ready. He had 3 daughters, and he walked each one of his girls down the aisle because he knew he wouldn't live long enough to do it when they got married.
oh my God. That
I
just
know, like I've told this story so many times, and I well up every time, but it's like it's that kind of thing that is why we do it. These girls will always have a video of their dad walking them down the aisle. Their ages like 8, 10, and 15 or something like that, because
oh
he's
my
not going
God.
to live long enough to do that.
Yeah, literally. There's no
So
getting around it.
it's
Oh,
amazing. So the reason I was on the news is for that, but also because we are doing this huge dress sale because we're liquidating a part of our charity called Wish Upon a Dress. So it will
okay.
no longer be open after the end of April, but we partnered with Beholden to they would donate all the dresses that they didn't sell, and we would sell them to raise money for this charity. But this charity, like if you ever want to go find an incredible thing to support, go to wishuponawedding.org. It's an incredible charity.
Yeah.
um as far as like studios go, yeah, we have a brand new studio in Chicago that we opened up in October, and then we have our studio in West Allis near Milwaukee. And it's just a great place to have people come in and do their trials and relax and enjoy. And we do organic spray tans, and we do blowouts, and we do all the fun stuff that you can do to just kind of make the whole wedding experience a vibe and just be wonderful, and a whole experience that you can do that's great. So yeah, it's fun. We love doing it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I still have to come to your studio. Every time I'm there, I'm like either meeting with clients or like, a couple weeks away. I was actually running a wedding. So I was like,
Just
I just need to focus.
anytime. I'll just send you the website link. Just sign up. And
Oh
if
my
you're in
God.
the like Chicago area, we just go to glossed.com. That's our other company name is Glossed, Glossed, .com. It's our blowout bar attached to the Bridal Beauty Team. And anyone who's on there, just go on and you can click a day and time and it books your appointment, and it's great.
Oh
And
my
the
God,
same,
amazing. I love
yeah.
it. Well, now people, if you're Midwest or Chicago based or whatever, you can take care of yourself. Don't
Come
go to
on in, and we'll hopefully open one of those in Milwaukee next year. We're just trying to get our feet underneath us and figure out exactly how to get all the kinks out, and then we'll open one in Milwaukee too. It'll
Oh
be
my
great.
God, amazing. Yeah, I was like, don't go to the dry bar, go to Glossed.
Go to Glossed. Come see us. It'll be Super.
Amazing. Well, thanks for sharing. And offline, we're gonna
Yeah.
have to talk about that organization too, because
Yeah.
like my wheels are turning. Like, how can I help? So,
We'd love it. We'd love it. We did last year we did 35 weddings, and we're hoping to do 50 this year. It costs about $3,500 to put on an entire wedding, because everyone donates their time and their services. And we have a huge gala once a year that is so fun. You need to come next year. It's
okay. Amazing, amazing. Oh my God. Well, you know me. I'm already like, oh, okay, what can I do? What sign up is
it.
that? Oh my
Yeah,
God.
be
So,
awesome.
thank you so much for your time
You're
today.
welcome.
I'm
For sure.
excited for this to reach the public shortly. So, how can everyone find you, your company, both companies, and get connected and learn
Yeah.
more?
So you can always go to our website, which is www.thebridalbeautyteam.com. And you go into any of those places and inquire. The emails come actually right to me. I'm the one that responds to all of them. Or you can go to Instagram. You can just look up the Bridal Beauty Team. Again, when you look at our hand, it'll say Bridal Artistry Team because the Bridal Beauty Team was already taken by somebody who
That's
doesn't
fine.
post. Oh, it's so annoying.
Okay.
There's somebody who hasn't posted in like 7 years and they still won't let us
Oh,
have the name. It drives me crazy. But you can go on there and see some of our work. And you can just see like we have a really like big variety of people on there. You're not gonna, it's not some huge curated Instagram, because it's just not that our clients are all kinds of people,
whoever they
you know.
want to be. Yeah, whoever they
They
are.
want to be. We work
I'm
with a
just,
lot of LGBTQIA. We work with a ton of like African American clients, and we do a ton of South Asian weddings. And we do Chinese, and we just do all different kinds of weddings and fusions, and so it's not something that we can just curate and be like, here are all the blondes, or
yeah,
here are
like,
all whatever. We just don't have that, and that's what I love about our company. The Midwest is a diverse group of people. It's
yeah.
not one type of person. And so that's our clientele, which makes curating an Instagram a little challenging, but also great.
Well, but also if people feel represented too. I mean, that's a big conversation in 2024, even in freaking 2020. It's in the 2020s, it's been a conversation.
Always
And
right.
it should have been a long time ago. So, awesome. Well, I am so glad we could chat and just like demystify
Thanks.
some of these things. I think it's
Yes.
really helpful for brides. So I
Sure.
appreciate you on the show. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Follow
Thank
Kate
you.
and all her adventures, and we'll talk to everyone soon.
Thanks for listening. I'm thrilled that you joined us today. Feel free to check out CBK on Instagram at Celebrate by Kate, spelled CELEBRAIT, by, and my name Kate, KAIT, as well as various other online channels where we share our sparkle with the world. Thanks again for joining your wedding BFF. Cheers to your day, your way.